Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about why you need a Carpenter's pencil in your garage and your toolbox and not a traditional number 2 pencil. I'm going to teach you all the different benefits, why it's shaped like this, and why it's a better pencil. If you've learned even one thing from this video, please hit that thumbs up button for me. I appreciate it. Now let's get to the workbench and I'll show you. Alright, now we're here at the workbench. Just look at this difference here. You can see the difference in size. They're about almost the same length, but different shape, right? And what I want to show you is why it's shaped like this. The first thing is that these dimensions are very intentional. You have the width here, or depends on what you want to call the width, but this one here, they're all the same, but you've got a 1/2 inch measurement here and you've got a 1/4 inch measurement there. So if you've got you can use this as a spacer. For example, if you're putting decking together, and all right, let's say this was decking material, and you can then put your next piece of decking up against it and use the pencil as a spacer. Take your screw gun, screw in the next one, then move down the line, and you've got that perfect spacing. That's just one example of what you can do, knowing the spacing. All right, now the other important factor here that you need to know is this pencil here won't do this. It will not roll. And if you've been on construction sites or in even little home improvement jobs and your pencil's rolling away from you, maybe you're up on a ladder, you cannot afford to have that pencil come off, roll off wherever you've got it sitting up there. Now you got to go downstairs and chase it off the ladder. This thing will stay put. And that's a huge deal, especially if you're working on an incline or you're just up on you're doing some framing or whatever it is, and you just want the thing to lay flat and just sit nicely up there. Okay, the other thing you need to know is this. I'm going to pull one out here that I've already sharpened. The point is thicker. And the other thing is you're not going to sharpen this with a pencil sharpener like you would this. You're going to take your knife and you're going to sharpen it. Like I'm going to show you how to do one in a second, but you can shape the point any way you like. Now another benefit about having this wide piece of graphite here, it's not lead anymore. Lead was used years ago, and thank God everything switched to graphite so we don't have lead poisoning. But if you're going to make a mark on a piece of wood, you've got a couple options. One, I'm going to use this as a ruler. You can mark it like this. This gives you a line that's going to be a little bit thicker than this pencil. So when you're working and you want to make sure you have a nice line that you can see so you can get your chop saw on it, you can see it. You can also turn the pencil this way and put a thicker line down. If I can get it straight, right? See that? Okay, if you wanted to do that, you can have a thicker line for whatever reason. I don't know what you're going to use that for, but you can. You can also sharpen it thinner if you'd like. Okay, so now let's show you about sharpening it. Let's take another one of these and I'll show you how you're going to sharpen this. So the first important thing is don't go cheap on your blade. Blades are made to be changed. They don't cost very much money, and change them out as soon as you start feeling them get dull. You're going to know once you start working with razor blades long enough. Now look, I grew up using razor blades, and some of you who know me are going to make a joke about me using razor blades in the 80s near New York. No, I wasn't into that. I was working at a ski shop when I was 17 and had to use razor blades a lot, repairing the skis, fixing the bottoms using P-Tex and some of these other materials. You get really good at understanding how a razor blade works, okay? And if you've never used a razor blade that often, you're just gonna have to get used to it. But the first important thing is you're not gonna use it like a potato or carrot peeler and pull it towards you like that. You're not going towards your thumb. You're gonna go push it away from you. Start at a 45-degree angle, because you can see you've got a little bit to go before you get there. and you just start pushing it out, okay? Until you get to the graphite. Okay, so I'm at the graphite. Now you do the same thing on the other side. And so what I'm doing is I'm holding the angle with the right hand. I'm using my thumb to push it. Okay, we got both sides. Now we can cut off the side. Just got to be careful there, you don't go too far, but you want to expose the whole piece of graphite on the side. Okay, same thing here. Just a little bit more. That's it. Okay, there you go. Like I said, if you want to, you can also thin this out. Let's say you want to have a thinner tip. You want to go very thin on it. You can lightly scrape off the edge using your knife. And here I am chipping it a little bit. But that's what's going to happen when you make it thinner. Okay, so now you're going to have a thinner line that you'll draw. Look at the difference between that line and that line. It'd be nicer if I made it straight. There you go. See that? Versus that. And that's because I trimmed it down and thinned it out. So you can cut this, like I said, into various different shapes. You can also cut it on both ends. All right. Now another benefit with this type of pencil is it's not going to wear away as fast. You're going to be able to have many more marks on here. You can have a lot of times if you're working with cement, masonry, bricks, cinder blocks, you're going to be able to mark those with this pencil. And this versus this pencil, if you ran it across a brick or something, the tip will be either broken off or worn down to the wood in the first pass. This won't happen with that. So if you're wondering how these pencils are made, these are really assembled in the factory as two separate pieces. So imagine this being a sandwich, two pieces of wood or bread that are already open, and there's a groove on both sides. And they lay the graphite inside the groove, and then they basically glue these things together and then put their paint on it. So it's really an interesting process. I'm going to look for a video that shows how to make them, and if I find it, I'll link to it in the description. But I'm also going to link to where you can buy these. Of course, you can get them from your local home improvement store. That's where I got these. You can tell that because they're orange. If you I think I paid 20 cents each, and it's nothing. But if for whatever reason you felt like you wanted to buy a lot of them, I'll look online for you if you'd like. You can also get these. Sometimes if you go to not just a regular home improvement store, because they're going to sell you everything, but if you go to maybe a painting store or a lumber yard or something like that, especially if you're a contractor and they recognize you, they might just give you some of these just for free, and they're going to have their logo on them. All right, what do you think about these? You want to give it a try? Like I said, if you learned anything in this video, if you found any bit of it interesting, because maybe my little story about the 80s, give me a thumbs up for that. I tried to keep it clean because I didn't want YouTube to block the video. I could have said a little bit more. But if you did, thank you for watching. I'm going to have way more tutorials than this. If there's anything you want me to make a video on, just please let me know in the comments. Love to hear your feedback in the comments also as to whether you've used these before and if you like them. If you are comfortable using the knife to whittle it down to the point that you like, just let me know. Appreciate you watching, everyone. Have a great day.